Welcome to this focused deep dive, designed specifically for you educators and administrators right here in Southeastern Appalachian, Ohio. We're really focusing today on a pretty exciting initiative called ONRAMP. That's the Optimizing Navigation for Rural Advanced Manufacturing Pathways project.
Yeah, and this project, it really hits on a challenge that, well, you all deal with every day. How do we guide more of our underserved rural students towards, post-secondary education, especially paths that lead to good careers in advanced manufacturing and related STEM fields?
Right.
Think of it as tackling those barriers that geography, just location, can create for our kids.
Exactly. We're talking about what people often call spatial inequality. Having less access to resources, to opportunities just because of where you live. And OnRamp is really stepping up to address this directly. It's building on groundwork already laid by the Appalachian Semiconductor Education and Technical Ecosystem, or ASCENT.
Right, ASCENT. Now, ASCENT has been absolutely crucial in building that structural foundation for STEM education here. Developing courses, getting schools to work together.
Infrastructure, basically.
Exactly, the infrastructure. But OnRamp, that's really about getting students onto those pathways. It's providing that direct sort of student-focused support.
Okay. And OnRamp has some key goals that I think will be really relevant to the work you all do. For one, it's funding dedicated career navigators in certain areas. And these aren't your general guidance counselors, right? They have
Yeah.
a specific STEM focus.
That's key, yeah. And the project is also layering on extra academic advising resources, specifically tailored for those ASCENT pathways. And finally, it's really about using those partnerships that ASCENT built, with industry, with education, to create those really important hands-on learning opportunities and career connections for students.
So the goal is really, we want to see more students in our rural communities aware of these options.
Aware, feeling ready for them, and actually, enrolling in the post-secondary programs that set them up for success in advanced manufacturing and STEM, and crucially, making a real dent in those spatial inequality barriers we were just talking about.
And this is a big collaboration too, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Ohio University is sort of the hub, but the ASCENT ecosystem itself is this strong network. It includes Ohio Technical Centers, our region's community colleges like Belmont, Hawking, Zane State,
Right.
Marietta College, Shawnee State University. I mean, it covers a pretty significant chunk of southeastern Ohio.
But geographical reach is important.
It is, and it's not just schools. OnRamp is also working hand in hand with regional industry groups. You've got the Fairfield 33 Development Alliance, the South Central Ohio Workforce Partnership, this kind of cross-agency coordination. It's so vital to make sure everyone's pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, definitely. At its core, OnRamp seems to recognize this common problem. A lot of students in our region just lack that dedicated guidance, the resources they need to really see themselves pursuing these STEM pathways after high school.
Exactly.
So this initiative is a direct response to that need. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into how OnRamp actually works on the ground, starting with these career navigators you mentioned.
Okay, yeah. The idea is to place these dedicated career navigators right within the educational service centers, the ESCs. Now, these ESCs, as you know, are vital regional support hubs. They provide all sorts of services to local school districts.
Right, they're already a known entity for our schools, a familiar connection point.
Precisely. So it makes them an ideal place for these specialized roles. And it's important to remember this is starting as a pilot program. It's designed to be a learning opportunity. The goal right from the beginning is to figure out what works best, and then create a model that hopefully could be expanded across the whole ASCENT ecosystem if it proves effective.
So just to clarify, these career navigators aren't doing the same job as our high school guidance counselors, who are already stretched pretty thin.
That's a really important distinction, yeah.
Their focus is just on advanced manufacturing and STEM.
Exactly. While school counselors do incredible work covering a huge range of needs for all students, these career navigators have a very specific focus, guiding students towards these particular career pathways. They'll act as that crucial link between the high schools and the wider ASCENT ecosystem, providing really targeted expertise that maybe isn't there right now.
Makes sense. And what will they actually be doing day to day to support our students?
Well, their work really focuses on three main things. First, intensive career and academic advising, but specifically for these advanced manufacturing and STEM paths, helping students explore talents, interests, map out their journey.
Okay.
Second, and this is vital, creating those hands-on learning opportunities, working with ASCENT partners, local industries to get students real-world experiences.
Right, the practical stuff.
And third, Understanding how important families are, especially here, they'll be reaching out to caregivers too, keeping them in the loop, getting them involved.
Bringing the family perspective in.
Yeah.
That's really crucial, I think. Now, the project outline also mentions using something called the U-Science assessment tool.
Mhm.
What's that about?
Ah, U-Science. Yeah, it's an online tool for high schoolers, but it goes beyond just, asking, what do you like?
Mm.
It uses aptitude testing.
Aptitude testing, so like natural talents.
Exactly, identifying those natural strengths. And it combines that with psychometric analysis, basically, a scientific way to measure abilities and potential, maybe even things the student isn't fully aware of. And all this leads to personalized career recommendations, suggesting fields where they actually have a high likelihood of succeeding.
So it's really about uncovering those
Hmm.
maybe hidden strengths and showing students, hey, you could really excel here.
Precisely. And importantly, this isn't just some vague interest quiz. There have been rigorous studies, like one down in Georgia, showing it's pretty reliable in predicting things like, well, a student's confidence in making career choices, even their intent to actually stick with a chosen path.
That sounds like a powerful tool. What kind of aptitudes does it actually look at?
It assesses a pretty wide range, things like problem solving, spatial reasoning is a big one for manufacturing, cognitive skills, and yes, interests too. It gives a really detailed picture.
Well,
And then students get these personalized reports, they highlight their aptitudes and directly link them to specific careers in advanced manufacturing and STEM, showing where those skills could lead.
so it's not just you're good at math,
Yeah.
but maybe because you're good at math and spatial reasoning, look at these engineering tech jobs.
Exactly that. And it gives them in-depth info on those careers, too. Typical salaries, what the job actually involves day to day, the education needed. It really empowers students to explore the practical side of careers that genuinely fit their natural talents.
Right.
That Georgia study, for instance, found that students using U-Science, they had a much better grasp of their own abilities, felt more confident about their future, and were significantly more likely to actively explore career options and plan for more education.
Those are definitely the kind of outcomes we want for our students here. So how will these new career navigators use this U-Science information?
It becomes a key tool for them. They can use the results to identify students who show that natural aptitude and interest in these fields. And then they can provide really tailored guidance, mentoring based on that deeper understanding of the student's potential. Help them set meaningful goals, both academic and career-wise.
It really sounds like you could personalize the support we offer students.
Absolutely. And the navigators will also use this data to proactively reach out, to connect with students and families who might really benefit from these pathways, but maybe hadn't considered them before. They'll be taking more of a case management approach, building relationships, offering ongoing support as students navigate that whole post-secondary process applications, financial aid hurdles, program requirements.
That consistent support can be huge, especially for first-generation college students.
A game changer, potentially. And beyond the academics, the navigators will be key in connecting students to those hands-on experiences we talked about, organizing college visits, tours of local STEM industries, setting up job shadowing, maybe even helping line up internships or apprenticeships.
Bringing it all together.
Exactly. And a big part of evaluating the project's success will be looking at how well these career navigators actually bridge those service gaps and ultimately increase enrollment in the ASCENT pathways.
This all sounds like a very direct, practical way to support our students. And you mentioned earlier, this project is also thinking about those bigger picture issues, right? Spatial and educational equity in our rural communities.
Yes, absolutely. That's really a central pillar of ONRAMP. The project is deliberately aligning itself with the goals of the National Rural Education Association, NREA, which, as you know, is a major voice for rural schools. NREA consistently highlights the real challenges of spatial inequality. The limited access to resources and opportunities that often stem from historical underinvestment or shifts in local economies, like reliance on boom-bust industries.
And sometimes the way we maybe nationally think about educational success doesn't quite fit the opportunities right here in our region.
That's a great point. The project specifically recognizes that an urban-centric focus, maybe one that overemphasizes four-year degrees, might overlook the really valuable two-year degrees and certifications. Those are often crucial pathways into good jobs in fields like advanced manufacturing, especially in our rural economies. So OnRamp is designed very specifically to generate knowledge on how to reduce these spatial inequality barriers for students looking at advanced manufacturing and STEM careers locally.
So it's about helping students find the right path to a good career, potentially right here close to home.
Precisely. And the strategy is multifaceted. Those specialized career navigators using U-Science, creating the experiential learning, helping students really understand all their post-secondary options, not just one type, and connecting them to the right resources. The research side of OnRamp is designed to track if these efforts actually lead to greater awareness, enrollment, and crucially retention in these fields, and also to identify what obstacles still remain for our students.
And it's also about making sure those educational paths link up with the actual jobs available nearby, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. Ensuring the training is relevant to local labor force needs. And while, funding gaps are often the most obvious barrier, OnRamp is also digging into some of those less visible aspects of spatial inequality. Things like just the physical distance to a college campus, or the perceived value of education within the community. The specific support systems needed for students who are the first in their family to pursue higher ed, access to social capital, mentoring networks, and just simply knowing what career paths are actually viable right here where they live.
Those are all such important factors that can easily get overlooked. It's definitely about more than just money. It's that whole landscape of opportunity.
Exactly. And the research questions guiding OnRamp reflect this deep dive. They're asking things like, how does students' awareness of these opportunities change over time? Why do they make the enrollment decisions they do? How are they actually using the supports OnRamp provides? And importantly, what do the students and their families themselves see as the most effective ways to reduce these barriers and help them feel ready for STEM education beyond high school?
That focus on getting the student and family perspective seems so valuable for understanding the real impact.
It really is. You see, the Career Navigator role itself, it's specifically designed to meet the place-based needs of our rural students. It recognizes that, well, sometimes urban-centric models just don't fit or fail in our communities. This role is meant to fill a gap, complementing the amazing work that existing high school counselors and ESC career counselors do, but providing that extra specialized layer.
Right.
And these navigators, they'll be trained specifically to consider things like school connectedness, those social factors, and to actively engage with caregivers, recognizing their importance. The focus on experiential learning that's rooted in local job opportunities and that caregiver engagement piece, those are key differentiators.
So when we talk about tackling spatial inequalities, OnRamp's looking at what specifically?
It's targeting awareness of local educational opportunities, access to that social infrastructure mentors, support networks, and building direct connections to local industry career paths. And the institutional support is there too. Multiple colleges at Ohio University are involved, and tying it to the ESCs is really designed to make it replicable, potentially sustainable.
And the research helps with that sustainability.
Exactly. The research component isn't just academic. It's there to rigorously identify the impact, figure out what's working best, and inform how we can build sustainable models for reducing these inequalities long term. That helps target future funding effectively, too.
Okay, so there's the navigators, the advising, the partnerships, and then the research watching it all. Is there also an evaluation piece?
Yes, there's a formal external evaluation being led by the Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Service at OU.
Okay.
Their job is really threefold: document the outcomes, provide feedback to improve the program as it goes, and share the lessons learned, both successes and challenges. The evaluation will specifically look at how well those three main objectives are being implemented: the career navigators, the extra advising resources, and leveraging those partnerships for experiential learning.
Do they have specific questions they're asking?
They do. Preliminary questions focus on things like, what activities are the career navigators actually engaging in? What challenges are they facing? How impactful is the U-Science tool proving to be? Also, what lessons are being learned about providing effective advising for these pathways? Are the experiential learning opportunities actually being enhanced? And how are regional employers engaging with the project?
Gotcha. How are they gathering that info?
It's a mixed methods approach. They'll use periodic reports, a final summative report, regular meetings with the project leaders, monthly surveys tracking what the navigators are doing, plus annual interviews with key people involved and focus groups with regional employers.
It sounds very thorough. Well, this has given us a really valuable deep dive into the OnRamp project. It's clear how much potential it has to really make a difference for our students here in Southeastern Appalachian, Ohio.
Absolutely.
It's definitely encouraging to see such a focused, well-thought-out plan to tackle these tough challenges of spatial inequality in STEM education.
It really is. And for all of you listening administrators, teachers working directly with our students, OnRamp represents a real opportunity. A chance to provide that enhanced guidance, that extra support, those critical real-world connections, all the things that can open doors to exciting, well-paying careers in advanced manufacturing and STEM fields right here.
Yeah.
By really focusing on our underserved rural students
Yep.
and addressing the specific barriers they face, this initiative truly has the potential to help shape the future workforce of our region.
So as we wrap up, maybe just a final thought for you, our listeners, the dedicated educators of our region. How can your schools, your expertise, best connect and collaborate with initiatives like OnRamp? How can we work together to ensure all our students, regardless of their zip code, have equitable access to these promising STEM career opportunities? It's worth thinking about the collective power we have using strategies like these to build a really thriving future workforce right here in our communities. Thank you for joining us for this important deep dive today.